Max Wardell, overheadathletics.com. Joined again by Charles Donovan here. We're going over the throwing in the 5th part of our 5-part series on UCL tears and rehabilitation for UCL tears. We did part 1, which was prognosis, looking at different types of tears, ulnar collateral ligament anatomy. Then we did assessment, where we looked at different ways to assess the anterior bundle of the UCL. And then we did manual therapy, looking at elbow extension mobilizations, flexion mobilizations, radial traction, manual therapy for the soft tissues. And now we've already gone through our exercise component in number 4, and we're here to work on the throwing component, and we'll talk about some implications for throwing technique. Now, if you go back and watch those videos, even if you've already watched them before, I encourage you to go back and watch our assessment video. We talk about how we assess the UCL in approximately this position. What you'll find is the majority of individuals who've torn their ulnar collateral ligament will drag their arm through this position during the throw. Supination. I see a lot of drills that are designed around supination, where they are here, unlocks the elbow, and then they drag their arm out and behind. So this old school reach back and throw has resulted in a lot of injuries. And what we're trying to do is get guys to flex their elbow, because in my doctoral studies, what I found was when you flex the elbow and you take a cadaver and you take all the muscles off, flex the elbow, pronate it, even when there's no UCL and you've totally cut through it with a scalpel, oh, it barely gaps at all. As soon as you take it out here and you put it in that open pack position with extension and supination, it takes one finger force to gap that thing when that UCL is torn. So we want to make sure the arm is in the right position in the throw. That means when the peak stresses are encountered, I can't be out here. Now, remember, if the elbow's low, this mechanically locks the shoulder. He can't externally rotate. So where is that taken up? Right here. The shoulder laying back is like a shock absorber at the elbow. As the arm lays back, the shoulder absorbs some of that load and softens the load on the elbow. And we know that if we pin the shoulder by putting the elbow low, gaps the elbow more. And that's exactly what we do in our assessment. We wind it up so all of this blocks the humerus from rotating, then we apply our valgus. If we do the same thing in the throw with a low elbow, we're going to have a problem. High elbow, same thing. You take up slack in the shoulder, you can no longer lay back. So it's really important to make sure that the shoulder line across, the elbow is approximately on that line. The ball is inside the elbow, the wrist is inside the elbow, and it's slightly pronated. That's the goal of these throws, to protect the ulnar collateral ligament. So I'm going to have Chuck go through a bad throw so you guys can see what that looks like. I want you to drag it through with an elongated lever arm, Chuck. So if you watch, he's got a low elbow. Give him another one here. He's got a low elbow and he lets his arm drag out and around. Now we'll sometimes see where athletes kind of get their elbow up high and they wrap it out and around. Can you show us that one time, Chuck? We're trying to alter the position that the arm moves through in peak stress. So when the arm is encountering peak forces, they're in external rotation with the wrist inside the elbow. Essentially the ball behind the head or behind the shoulder. Now, Chuck, let's put you into a good position and let's go from right there. So the ball's over his shoulder. He's pronated, not supinated, because remember that unlocks the elbow. And even when I was tensile loading elbows in the cadaver lab for my doctoral studies, this will gap the elbow significantly more than this. Now, you don't want to go all the way to terminal end range pronation. But if you just go biased into it, you're going to be in a good position. And if you watch anybody, you watch Trevor Bauer, you watch Nolan Ryan, what you'll see is that they're approximately in this position as they come through. They're not in this position like they're throwing a breaking ball on the fastball. Okay, so let's go here. So he's in a good athletic position, loaded into his hip, rotated away from the target. Stand up a little taller for me. Right there, ball's over the shoulder, elbow is approximately shoulder height. He's going to make a strong, powerful throw. Good. We'll start at a low intensity. We'll build up as he can tolerate it. We can monitor it with the radar gun, percent intensity, whatever it is. But the most important component is the mechanical aspects and getting the arm in the right position. So we like to have him just initiate from this position and go. So you can see his elbow is in a good position where he's at that shoulder plane attractor. We call that a movement attractor. And then his wrist is inside his elbow. He's slightly pronated, protecting the ulnar collateral ligament. Good. And big step and be an athlete and go. Chuck has had some UCL injuries in the past. We altered his throw and he was able to pitch collegiately and professionally with that elbow. Go. So you can see he keeps a little bit of pronation, keeps the elbow on the right plane. We're working on throwing with a more stable position of the elbow. Nice. And this isn't going to fix all of your athletes. Certainly not. That's why people like myself are there in terms of physical therapists and biomechanists, so we can actually analyze the attributes of the throw and make specific fixed progressions based on video analysis and in-person analysis, so we can actually move forward with a comprehensive approach that addresses your unique biomechanical signature or biomechanical model. The most important component is getting the elbow and getting the forearm into the right position. So now I'm just going to have Chuck work from a full throw, working on getting the ball into that position. Now we use all sorts of stuff. We use balls that we'll put here, a connection ball. We'll do stuff where we're working on P&F techniques. We have so many different techniques we can use to get the arm in the right position, but the big thing is teaching him where his arm's supposed to be and then teaching him to get it there. Let's go full pitch a couple times just through your pitching mechanics. Nice light. He's going 50, 60%. Get the arm into that apexed position. Nice. So you can see Chuck gets the ball in close. He gets the elbow, shoulder height, wrist inside the elbow, pronated. That's the biggest thing when you're looking at UCL injuries. But it's always important to make sure you're strong as possible. You've managed elbow extension, flexion, range of motion through manual therapy, and you understand the prognosis of various tears. The more stable the elbow position, the stronger the forearm muscles, and the better the passive range of motion of the elbow, the more successful outcomes are going to be when you're dealing with torn UCLs. We want to thank you for joining us on this journey. We're going to be posting a lot more manual therapy assessment videos, physical therapy videos, throwing videos, biomechanics videos, motor learning videos. All that stuff's going to be on this channel dedicated around the overhead athlete. Thanks, Chuck. We'll see you guys soon.